wish you'd understand. I just wish that God had a better plan. I'm so confused, and I need a redo. Inside of me that's begging and begging and pleading. I just wanna feel free. I just wanna feel lovely. I'm surrounded by love that's in pain. Can I wipe your tears away? Please don't hurt for me. I hate that it's for me. It's for me.
Hi, welcome back to the MS Michigan Man 64 podcast, where I am trying to spread awareness about what it is like to live with chronic disease. I have been living with multiple sclerosis for the last 28 years. I talk about my journey as well as the journey of other chronic disease warriors all over the world, just to try to help people understand what it is like going through that diagnosis, the battles that we face every day. With employment or with our family, our kids. But I met this MSer about a month ago on TikTok. I love TikTok, the platform for the community of multiple sclerosis and chronic disease. But I started talking to this girl, Amber. She's from the state of Rhode Island, and she got diagnosed with her MS in 2022. She also is the mom of an autism warrior. She's got an autistic child, and we were definitely going to be talking about that. But please welcome to the podcast, Amber. How you doing today, Amber?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be on your podcast and touch all these topics.
I'm excited to have you, Amber. I know that we have had a lot of discussions the last couple of days, and I just love everything about you. You are an absolute fighter. You're a badass. I mean, the things that you are doing with MS and with a child on the autism spectrum, you're an amazing lady, and I'm privileged that I got a chance to know you and hear your story, and I'm just really excited for you to share your story so that people can understand this a little bit better.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that.
So
I try.
I know you do. I know you do. So Amber, in 2022, you got that diagnosis that you had multiple sclerosis. Can you kind of take us through what was going on in your life, what kind of symptoms you were having that threw the red flag up that you needed to go to a doctor to try to get it figured out?
Around that time, I was dealing with a lot of stress. I had left my apartment and had to go back to my mom's house for about a year. So I was struggling trying to find something. And I was with my daughter's father at the time, and he had the addiction problems. So he had a relapse. So I had to hurry up and find something for us to go live in because he got kicked out of my mom's house.
Mm-hmm.
So I was struggling trying to find an apartment. I found one. And during that time, I was at my mom's house. I want to say it was the beginning of the year because it was colder. So I would say from January, February, through those months, I noticed the whole top half of my torso, like from my belly up, was numb. My arms were numb. My boobs were numb. And I was freaked out because I'm like, Ma, my boobs are numb.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going on. She told me I needed to make a doctor's appointment. So I made a doctor's appointment. And now the doctor's office I go to, because I feel like it's hard to find like a regular PCP out here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a clinic as well. So like it helps people with addictions and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually my boyfriend's doctor's office. So I go there and they're used to all like people just wanted stuff. I don't know if he thought like I was in pain. The doctor just looked at me like I had 10 heads.
Yeah. Right.
When I told him my boobs were numb, like my chest is numb, like places are going numb.
Yeah.
He did schedule an MRI, but I go off of 5s. And once you make me feel uncomfortable, it's like, why do I care to even go do this MRI now? You already made me feel like
you were a pill chaser, like you were chasing narcotics or something like that.
Yeah, like I just wanted something when really I just wanted to know why I was numb.
Right.
And even if you didn't know, you were just looking at me like I was lying to you, telling me that my boobs are numb. Like,
Yeah. Wow.
so the time when I was numb, I would say probably about a month. I was numb for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but then it ended up going away. Months went by. I finally found an apartment and I was getting ready to move in. And I was working at Dunkin' Donuts at the time. I was assistant manager, so it's a lot of stress too, dealing with that. So dealing with that, trying to move, trying to find a spot. And then when me and all my sisters are all together anyways, it's always like a fight all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just stress from every angle. I was working, I was at Dunkin' Donuts, and I just kept seeing like stars or like dots in my eye,
Mm-hmm.
like stuff floating around.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was. I told my manager, I'm like, I don't know. I just feel funny. I feel like I'm seeing stuff.
Yeah.
The day went on. It was just that. Maybe had like a little headache. Didn't really think anything of it because I won't take Tylenol or nothing if I have a headache unless like I can't function. So I just let it go. The next day comes and I had to drive to work. That was like the hardest thing I think I ever had to do
I bet.
was drive to work that day
I bet.
because my head hurt so bad and I didn't realize that my pupils weren't the same anymore.
That's
So
interesting.
my head hurt.
Yeah.
My head hurt so bad
Yeah.
and I had to drive to work. So trying to focus on the road
Yeah.
was the hardest thing because I want to put my head in my lap so bad. And for me, trying to focus on the road and making myself look the whole time when I got to work, I was so nauseous. I had to sit down for about 45 minutes
Yeah.
before I can even get up and do anything because I felt so sick.
Yeah.
And now we're at the Dunkin' I worked at was in the gas station across from the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So we get a lot of people that come in, whether it's from one of the hospitals that's not far from there or so one of the nurses came in and she's trying to tell me that it could be what'd you say, stigmatism?
Okay.
Maybe I need glasses or something.
Yeah. Right.
So my mom tells me like I need to go to the hospital. Boyfriend's like, you need to go, like something's not right. I went to the hospital. Now, Rhode Island hospital, the wait time is insane.
Mm.
Absolutely insane. I was in there maybe 4 or 5 hours and I'm very impatient.
Yeah.
So me sitting there for just 4 or 5 hours was long enough for me.
And you're
I ended up
scared.
leaving.
And you're scared, Amber. I mean, you're having problems with your vision. You got problems with numbness in your body. I'm sure you're scared shitless, and you're sitting there waiting for 5 hours, just to get seen. Yeah, I mean, it's
And
crazy.
uncomfortable too because now I'm sitting in the waiting room. You have the lights and all that. Like my head hurts and I just want to lay down. Because the day before that, before I ended up going to the hospital, when I just brushed it off, I think I just went to sleep.
Yeah.
I just slept it off. So when the next day came around, it really hit me. So the day after that, because I ended up leaving the hospital and my boyfriend was yelling at me. So I called the doctors and I made a same day appointment. And I go in there and my doctor, because it was a same day appointment, I didn't get to see my doctor. I seen the nurse practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
And she just kept asking me if I was on drugs. Did I take something? Because like I said, I noticed my pupils. So once she checked my pupils, she's thinking I took something.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I'm like, no, no, lady. Like I didn't take any drugs. And she just kept asking me. I said, I did not take any drugs. And then I told her how I went to the hospital. The wait was too long.
Yeah.
So once she finally like came to terms with no, I did not take any drugs, she started thinking maybe I could have a brain bleed or something, like something's not right. She turned off the lights. She's like, keep your sunglasses on. I don't want you in the lights because my eyes just they looked crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she ended up calling the hospital.
uh-huh.
She called the hospital and got me right in when I went there because she thought it was a brain bleed. So they took me right in.
Wow. Okay. Thank God she did that for you. And is that,
Yeah.
yeah, is that when they started figuring it out and found the
That's
lesions?
when they started. So they started with the eye tests and all that, dilating my eyes
Yeah.
and looking in my eyes.
Right.
They set me for the MRIs and that's where but they weren't really telling me anything. And the hospital was so packed. So when they first admitted me after they did like all the eye tests and all that, in between me waiting for the MRIs, I slept in the hallway in a bed. I was in the hallway and I got treated better sleeping in the hallway than I did when they put me in a room.
Wow. That is crazy. that is just
And
unbelievable.
like, they weren't even telling me my test results. I found out my test results from my chart.
So you, yeah, you know, and I've had this discussion with other MSers that I've talked to, and I just have a real big problem with how we're told that we have MS. I know when I found out that I got diagnosed in '97, and when I went in face to face with my neurologist, and he told me face to face, and you know there was no MyChart back then, so I didn't have anything to
But
read.
they told me I had MS to my face, but like all the other, like all these tests that they're taking is I'm getting everything through my chart
Yeah,
because my labs they were off too. I forgot what was off with the labs. I know my vitamin D was really low too,
right.
and it was something else that was going on. But
Yeah.
once so I slept in the hallway for the night, and then they brought me upstairs, which was the funny part because the room they brought me to upstairs, I was on the same floor that my dad passed away on,
Oh my
right
gosh.
across the hall from the room he was in.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. And I know that earlier when you first started talking, you were telling me about everything that was going on in your life, and I know that stress is a huge factor. I was going through a lot of stress when I got my diagnosis. I was planning a wedding and all that, and you know, I know that I had the lesions in my brain before that, and I talk about that a lot. You know that I was in a car accident in 2023, and they actually seen lesions, but I ignored what the emergency room told me. And then fast forward to '97, that's when I got diagnosed, but I was going through a real stressful time in my life. And that I think is what ignited my MS to like come out, you know, just that stress of getting ready to get married and everything else. And I didn't even realize that stress had that big of an effect on MS, you know, for years later after that. You know, that's when I started figuring out, you know, stress is your killer, man. You got to avoid stress. But I think stress is like my original thing that brought my MS to the surface, if that makes sense.
I think it's what makes me have a relapse every time.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like I haven't had a relapse just because they started me on the other nerve medication. Well, it's not really nerve medication, it's
What?
Cymbalta.
Okay. So,
To
well,
so I could
yeah.
stop taking gabapentin
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
don't really like to take gabapentin,
Yeah.
but
Right.
it's also helps with your mood. So I feel like if I didn't start that, but I feel like that's been helping me.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this, Amber. When you got that diagnosis and you're in 2022 and you're reading it in my chart and all that, did you have any understanding about what MS was at that time? Because I know when I got diagnosed when I was 27, I heard of it, but I didn't really know what it was. You know, and then
Yeah,
when I go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you're fine. I didn't know what it was. So once they had brought me upstairs, they did the MRIs. I had two doctors come in and tell me that I had multiple sclerosis. They didn't tell me like what it was. Well, I think they said how the cells attack, but they didn't really like break it down to me. And then I
No,
started crying and
right.
they said I'm sorry and that was about it. But I didn't know what it was. Like is it something like cancer? Like I didn't know what it was.
Exactly.
I've never heard of it.
So with that being said, Amber, you know, being that you're only diagnosed 2022 and it doesn't sound like they do it still, because I talk to people all the time that have been diagnosed, and I think there's a couple hospitals that I've heard that do it. But do you think that there should be a mental health counselor in that room when that doctor is telling you that you have MS? Because I mean, I hear so many times that, you know, people get told, okay, you got MS, and then the doctor walks out. See me in a couple months. We'll get you on a DMT. You'll be fine. And then they just leave you there crying.
Yeah.
I really think that there should be somebody involved in that diagnosis right there, right at the get go. You know, hey, you got
Yeah,
MS.
I think
Yeah,
I agree. I feel like they should give you the option to whether it be psychiatrist, mental health worker, therapist, someone because like and the live the other day when they was talking about the psychiatrist and therapist, they've never brought that up to me.
right. Yeah,
And I think it was Holly that said you usually have to ask, but I feel like that's something they should put on the table from the gate, especially because of how much this affects, especially people that have more lesions in their brain. I have more in my brain than in my spine.
Yeah, and you know, I don't care who you are. I mean, I played football at the University of Michigan. 5 years later, I get diagnosed. I was a big, strong guy. I don't care who you are. When you get told multiple sclerosis, it's chronic, it's never going away. you're scared. I mean, I was scared as hell. And I never, back in 97, the mental health wasn't even really talked about yet. I mean, that was, everybody was, it was a taboo subject, the mental health. Everybody called you crazy and all that. So it was never discussed with me by my doctor, not by his fault, I mean, because I love my doctor that diagnosed me. But I just don't think that medicine was there yet. And it's 28 years later and we're still not there. And that's sad. I mean, there should be a mental health professional in that room during that diagnosis. I mean, I don't know. It's just
And then
crazy
even
to me.
how the hospitals kind of treat you after that, because to them, I was their least sick patient. So they had me on steroids, a high dose of steroids because of my eye. So I had like a line going through my eye.
Yep.
Like it was like a black line. I couldn't really see everything.
Yep.
So they gave me a high dose of steroids, and thank
Yeah.
God it gave me my full vision back.
Yeah. I was the same way,
And
Amber.
I was their least sick patient because you got me on high dose steroids. I asked the doctor when he came in to give me stomach meds
Hmm.
because you have me on a high dose of steroids anyways. You're supposed to give me something for my stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Nope.
at least like,
So I asked the nurse.
yeah.
They didn't put it in my chart, and then they got mad at me because now, like I said, I'm impatient. I went and walked my ass out there and went to the nurse's desk, and then she started yelling at me, and I had to tell them like I don't. And it was the same nurse too that when my dad had passed away because of how they can't tell us that he's going to have to wait for the doctor.
Yeah.
She tried to tell us he was still breathing.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
So I told them I didn't want her on my case no more. But I'm coming out here to you guys basically in tears, telling you I need something for my stomach, like
Mm,
to the point where because we had the split room. I was on one side and they had someone else on the other.
yeah.
The lady on the other side started sticking up for me when the other nurse came in saying how they were treating me like shit because I was their least sick patient. She's like, no, she's like, I could say that she has been in here asking for stomach meds. They've been treating her like shit.
Man, that's sad. That's just sad. And I understand what you're talking about, the stomach, because I mean, I'm sure they did a Salumedrol infusion on you. It's probably a 5-day infusion,
Yeah.
1,000 milligrams or
And they
whatever the
sent me
hell.
home early too. So I had to take 50 pills a day.
Yeah.
So it was a high dosage,
Yeah.
a high dosage.
And that Salumedrol, that steroid, I know I've been on it so many times. I mean, it jacks you up. It tears apart your kidneys, liver. I mean, and it's a strong ass drug, but I mean, it helps us. I mean, it brings your eyesight back. That was what originally brought my eyesight back because I was having issues with my eyes too. When I first got diagnosed, I couldn't even tell the difference between red, yellow, and green at a traffic light. But once I got that Salumedrol, my vision did come back. But it never came back fully. I mean, my eyes have always been my worst problem. Today, 28 years later, I mean, my glasses are thick as Coke bottles because I have optic neuritis and I see double vision and I have to have real thick lenses, prism, to pull my eyes apart, or I'm seeing four of everything. And Salumedrol doesn't bring that back all the time. It's like I get a little bit back, but I don't get
I
everything
was
back.
lucky because of where the lesion is, because they showed me that's the only lesion that they really showed me when they like showed me the MRI scans. It's like right there on the nerve. So now anytime like I start seeing stuff in my vision again, I start freaking out because there is no 100% guarantee like if they give me the steroid, if I lose my vision like that again in that eye, that it's gonna come back.
Exactly. I mean, that's my worst fear, Amber, is that the next episode, that my eyesight might be gone, and I might not be able to see. I might not be able to drive. It's a fear that I've had for 28 years because my eyes have been one of my biggest affected things with this MS. And it's different for everybody. I know people that, they lost the ability to walk 5 years into their journey. And it's not because they stopped trying. It's just because this disease just does whatever the hell it wants. It doesn't care. If it wants to take
And
your voice, it's going to take your voice. I mean, I gotta,
and that's where I feel like they should educate more on it because I never knew stuff like that. Like I constantly always feel like my ears are itchy. Like I clean my ears probably twice a day because I feel like that. And I didn't know until I seen a couple TikToks that that could be from the MS. I was just telling my mom that
mm-hmm, yeah,
that it could be nerve damage within my ears. That's why I always feel like my ears are itchy.
it
And I'm
affects.
constantly cleaning them and they're fine. Like I didn't know people could lose their voice like that. That's why I wish they would have spoke about it more and or
Exactly. I just think
something.
people need to be educated on this. So, like they see, like people see me out, I mean, I'm right now, I'm sitting in my podcasting chair and talking to you. And if I went out, I'd have to use a rollator to get to my truck, get in my truck. And if somebody pulled up to me, sitting next to me in the truck and they just looked at me, they'd be like, oh, that's a healthy guy. They can't tell that I have MS. But because people just don't educate themselves about there's a lot of people, there's 3 million people in the world walking around with this disease. I guarantee you, anytime you go to a store,
What do you know?
you're walking around people that have MS all the time, but people just don't even understand that. They don't understand that we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
That was
We got a guy in Massachusetts that he's the freaking director in for the state of Massachusetts in the hospital system up there, and he has MS. I mean, we're everywhere. We're everywhere.
and you wouldn't even know. Like people don't know until I tell them.
Yeah.
Everyone just thinks I'm also healthy. So when I tell them I have MS, it's like I'm supposed to look sick to them.
Right. Yeah. And then people don't believe you. Okay, you got MS. Well, okay, you look good. You look fine. It must not be that bad. Well, you know what? It's freaking sucks, man. I mean, we never get a break. It's 24/7. And
You just think I'm a complainer. I'm just complaining all the time or something.
exactly. I mean, that's been a frustrating part in my 28 years, and it's affected relationships for me. I mean, family, friends, my circle has gotten a lot tighter just because I just got tired of dealing with people that just don't get it, and they've known me for 28 years with it, but they still don't get it.
I agree. I've only had it for this couple years and I feel like I wish more people would try to learn about it.
Yeah, we're gonna help people learn about it because they're gonna be hearing a lot of other people talking about their journey, like you, Amber. And I think this is needed. I think that I'm tired of people not understanding what chronic disease is, and whether it's fibromyalgia or POTS or autism, and not that that's a chronic disease, but that's another thing that is totally not understood.
It's just they're illnesses that you have to adjust to, like fully adjust to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not everything is the same no more.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to talk about your daughter, because I want to give her all the time that we can possibly give her, just to talk about you being a mom with MS and the fight that you're fighting with a daughter that's on the spectrum. You got a 5-year-old daughter that's nonverbal and she's on the autism spectrum. Talk a little bit about that part of your journey, Amber.
So I feel like I got her diagnosed pretty early, but it still took me a little bit of a push because she goes to my pediatrician that I went to, which is old school. So she kept trying to tell me my daughter was a late bloomer. Like she'll get there. Don't worry about it. But I was very persistent with it. Like, no, she don't make the eye contact. I seen a lot of signs, I would say, before she was one.
Mm-hmm.
That when she was one, I started trying to get her evaluated. I got her diagnosed 2 or 3. She got diagnosed after me.
Okay. Okay.
So I want to say she was 3.
Okay.
And I had her in regular school. She was going to preschool, but I knew she's a lot of the stuff I was reading about autism, it was my daughter. It was all her.
Right.
Like everything matched her.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get her this diagnosis so I could get her the services she needs.
Yeah.
Because when I brought her and she finally got diagnosed, the doctor looked at me because he used to be my doctor as well, too, my ADHD doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He thought I was going to cry. He was waiting for me to cry in the office. And I'm like, I've already been through this whole stage. I've been through the crying stage that she may be autistic, and I just need this diagnosis now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like but that's just how I am. Like, I'm very on stuff.
Yeah.
I try, even though I do dwell on stuff sometimes, I try not to dwell on it and just try to
Right.
get past it. I'm gonna cry for a minute and then,
Figure
but
it
I was
out.
very on top of
Yeah.
getting her diagnosed because I knew I need to get her services. And that's what sucks is just even getting help from the state and all that. Cause I lost my medical when I was working at Dunkin' because they wanted to make us raise the amount we was writing down for our tips so we can get taxed more.
Yeah.
And
we're going to talk about the employment side in a bit, Amber. I still want to talk about your daughter and just the fight that you had getting her diagnosed with her
yeah,
autism.
so getting her diagnosis, I was grateful for because it got her insurance that can't go nowhere.
Yeah,
That got us a lot, got us able to get services for her.
yeah,
So now she was in school when she was diagnosed. She went to public school. She was in the special needs program. But even then, the teacher had brought it to my attention was like, how do you feel about ABA? Because my daughter has a lot of energy, like a lot.
mm-hmm,
She watches Boss Baby all the time. So she thinks she's real life Boss Baby and she can do all the stuff that they do.
yeah,
So like she climbs up my walls and all that.
yeah,
They had already had added TAs in the room and they had to add additional ones for her because she was trying to like climb out windows. She was getting bored.
yeah, right,
So I looked into the full day ABA and I got her put into that, which is more of a one-on-one basis with them and helps them with basically like all life skills. Because my daughter's still not potty trained. That's like a thing we're really working on.
yeah,
She goes through phases like I had her where she was pooping in the toilet for a while before she would even like pee and all that. And now she won't even do neither. Like she goes through a lot of phases where it has to really depend on the mood she's in.
mm-hmm,
So it's been very good with the ABA. They work on stuff like that. Like she's very smart. She can name all shapes, hexagon, octagon, pentagon, like all those. She's
yeah,
very smart. And I ABA did really good with helping with that because that's exactly what she needs is the one-on-one. And I'm terrified about putting her back in public school because
right,
right now it's so hard to get them a one-on-one. But if she doesn't have a one-on-one, she can't go because they'll lose my daughter. She elopes.
yeah.
So she runs off.
I have a little bit of experience with the autism spectrum. My stepdaughter is on the spectrum. She's high functioning. So they're at different ends of the spectrum, but I understand the struggles that you have to go through just to get that diagnosis. I know I did on my solo platform that I had before I joined Hale Media. I recorded with my stepdaughter and my wife about her battle of getting her daughter diagnosed, and she had to fight with the doctors. They were telling her that she was a bad parent. She had bad parenting skills and all that, and she's like, "No, there's something wrong with my daughter. She's not
I
right."
feel like it really depends on the doctor. And I'm so happy that I didn't have that experience because I feel like I would have a bad reaction. Because that's one thing with having an autistic kid. It has made me very sensitive when it comes to her. So I am quick to defend her. I overly advocate for her.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And that's what my wife had to do with my stepdaughter. She had to fight with the doctors. It took her, I think she got her diagnosis maybe when she was around 5 years old. And she was fighting for 2 or 3 years to get it down in Tennessee. And then she finally got that diagnosis and they started doing therapy on her. And now fast forward, 26 years or 25 years. And she's at the University of Toledo working on her pharmacy degree. She's about 2 years into it and she's freaking amazing. I mean, but her mom did all that therapy with her, and worked with her. But I mean, it's just like MS. There's different ends of the spectrum. We talked about this earlier before we recorded. With MS, you got people that get diagnosed like me, and I'm 28 years later, and I'm still able to stand and walk a little bit. And you got people that are only 3 years into their disease and they're already into a wheelchair. There's just so many different ends of the spectrum to autism to MS, and just people just don't understand either one of them.
Oh, and that's where I say it's kind of similar in some parts because how they say every child with autism is different. Their autism is going to be different from the next one. It's the same thing with us with MS. We may experience some similar things, but my MS is different than yours, just like yours is different than the next person's. We all experience it different.
Absolutely, man. I just wish people that would educate themselves a little bit more about different conditions and different diseases, chronic diseases. I think it would make the world a better place. It would make easier for us to maintain employment. I know I've had issues because of my MS with my employment. And, some of them were choices that I made leaving employment because of my MS, and some of them were choices that employers made in firing me and all that crap. And I know that you've been through the same shit as I have, Amber. And, I'd be my guest. Talk about your experience with your employment, being an MS warrior with an autistic mom, and you're still dealing with this shit.
Yeah, I was an assistant manager at Dunkin', and I was pushed out, but I chose to quit. I walked away because I was dealing. It wasn't the MS at the time, which I'm happy for. I thought it was because I was having numbing. I had herniated discs, so I was having a lot of nerve problems in my back from the disc, and they were giving me a hard time. I brought in doctor's notes, and the manager had personal issues towards me, and I got into it with management. I was out for a week from being in the hospital because of the herniated disc. And then towards the end of the month, they decided to ambush me with the meeting over a TikTok I posted about a comment that one of the district managers had said to me, asking if my doctor, my neurologist, feels like I should still be in management with my diagnosis. My MS has nothing to do with my ability to work or how I can work. If you see me still walking,
Right.
carrying stuff, doing everything I need to do,
Right.
that wasn't my issue. My issue was my manager closing the chair on me every time I opened it,
Yep.
not allowing me to sit.
Yeah. Just
And
because.
then I
Yeah.
also, I had recorded her. There was personal issues, and I didn't know if I can go anywhere with it.
Mm-hmm.
About her saying that she wished she could hit me. I had people telling me to go see a lawyer, but I didn't want to deal with it.
Right.
Once they wouldn't let me get my 401k after taking the week of pay from me, telling me I had to go to this other store, I had no choice on my schedule or if I could stay, go, whatever the case was. So I decided to go, and it was impulsive, but the amount of stress it took off of me,
Yeah.
if I didn't do that, granted, I probably wouldn't have as much financial stress as I do right now,
Right.
but I would probably be very snappy towards everyone because that's how I was because I was so stressed out from being there. I just wanted to hit someone all the time.
Yeah. And here we are, you got a daughter at home with autism. You're just out there trying to make a paycheck. You're a good worker. And, I mean, I know we had this conversation. You said you got a lot of the same mental attitude as me. You do the best that you can. You always give 110%. You're all about the team, the team, the team. And that's the same story that I hear a lot about from other MSers. They just want to work. And, I was the same way. My last employer, I was there for 4.5 years. It was a freaking hospital system here in Cleveland. And I had 20 years experience working in the state of Ohio in the prison with mental health, chemical dependency, and all that. So I was a perfect fit for this system. And I was working in the mental health field, the chemical dependency field. That's what they did. They treated patients for that. And I got a supervisor's job running that intake unit. And I was there for 4.5 years. I got nothing but rave reviews. They were out of a 5-point scale. I got a 4.6, 4.7, 4.8. I got all the documentation. They loved me there. They said I was great. I ran a good unit. The clients came in. I mean, everybody was ranting and raving about me. So then I have a bad episode in 2020. I don't know what it was, 23. And it was right around my birthday in April, and it hit me. I thought I was in a wheelchair. I was done, and I was panicked. I still was thinking about my team at work, and I called the CEO. I called my boss. I'm like, hey, here's what's going on. I could still do my job from home until I can get back up on my feet and get back in the building. And they were all for it for the first couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden they said, hey, Brian, we need you back in the office. I said, okay, great. I want to come back in, but you guys have an elevator that's been broke for the last 4 years since I've been here. And every time it breaks and I can't get in and up or down to get to my car, I got to walk up or down 3 flights of steps, and I can't do that anymore. I can't come into the office until you get that elevator fixed. And they would not give me a safe way into that building. And I fought with them for 10 fucking months. And I have documentation, I have emails, I have recordings from the CEO threatening me, telling me that they were going to fire me if I didn't come back in. And I just kept going back and forth with them, standing up for what I thought were my rights to give me a fucking safe way into the building, and they ended up firing me. And it fucking blew me away. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is the way I'm treated because of my disease, and you have a fucked up elevator that you don't want to fix. You're just going to eliminate me? Okay. And you know what? Okay, fine. You win that battle. I'm going to win the war. We're going to talk about it. And this shit, this is the shit that we have to go through just to fucking survive. And it's fucked up. And it
Yeah.
sucks. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
Because that's what I feel like they wanted. They wanted to be able to fire me, but see, I don't give them the chance. I'm very on my P's and Q's, and I know what's right and what's not. And I've caught the GM and the manager in lies, and I've called them out on it. That's why they didn't try. They tried to push me in ways where they knew I would just walk out the door.
Oh, I know, I
Because
know.
they knew I would have a strong case against them.
I know for a fact when that CEO sent me that first email back in June requiring me to come back into that office or I was terminated, I know she knows that she fucked up. And now they spent the next 10 months trying to figure out they were collaborating with all their fucking hospital attorneys trying to figure out how the fuck are we going to get this guy out or he's going to take us to the cleaners. And they figured it out. They did. Their attorneys did what they wanted them to do. But you know what? They won the battle. I'll win the war.
Yep. And it's just, there's supposed to be no discrimination, but there is.
Yeah. And
But
now,
that's one thing with working. I never sat there and complained or milked anything. Anytime, like the whole thing in my eye, I only sat down when I had first got there for about 45 minutes. I was still lifting stuff and working after my two doctor's notes. I didn't sit there and complain,
right?
but that's how they were. I have MS. Oh, it's always going to be something. So
Yeah.
let's just.
Eliminate it. Eliminate it. And we're broke. We're a broke part of society, and that's the way a lot of times we're treated. I'm not going to say that we're all treated like that because I've talked to a lot of people that have freaking unbelievable employers, and I have given kudos to all those employers in my solo when I had my own channel, and I was like, my God, I wish I had that. I wish I had an employer. If I had an employer like that, I'd probably still be fucking working, like out in the
But
out in the
they were kind of supportive because I did the MS walk every time it comes here to Rhode Island, and I make T-shirts and all that. Like they bought T-shirts and bracelets from me or donated to
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
my thing. But
gee.
when it came to how they were treating me, because I would call them out on their stuff, and I would call the district manager out on lies because the days I ran, she never came in, but have the owner believing she comes in. So when he came in one day and tried to tell me I was lying, oh, I'm gonna call her. I said, go ahead, pick your phone up and call her. She
Right.
don't come in here on my days.
Yeah.
And called her, and then she was all mad at me. It's because I would call them out on stuff.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with nowadays. People want people to work, but then you get people in companies like that, like Dunkin' Donuts. Just because you're a Dunkin' Donuts employee doesn't mean you be treated like that
Right.
and be treated like you're just stupid.
Exactly. And it's not just Dunkin' Donuts. I mean, there's a lot of it. And I don't even blame the corporate logo. It's not the
No, I don't blame them either. I'm just saying more like companies like that. You guys want people to come and work for you, but how you treat them.
I mean, you're putting leadership in that shouldn't be in leadership is my point. I mean, you got a CEO where I was working. I mean, that lady had no freaking business being in the position that she was in. She had
But
no,
they rather keep people where they are instead of finding someone new. It's easier to just keep paying them than
well, I'm sure
go look for someone else.
she got that position probably because of either number one, either who she knew or she did favors for or whatever. I mean, she didn't get it there because of her intelligence. I can tell you that. I knew that. I knew her for 2 years and she wasn't that good. And I mean, I had a lot of experience working with good people and bad people. I worked with a lot of good people in the prison system that were educated and that were in warden spots. And I worked with other wardens in the state prison system that were terrible. I mean, they were just they were in that position because of who they knew. I mean, whenever you're working in the government, whether it's local, federal, or state, There's a lot of politics involved in it, who you know, and there's favors given, and I saw that for 20 years, and I see nothing. I saw nothing different than the CEO of that place where I was working, that hospital system. I was like, she wasn't there because she earned it. She was there because somebody gifted her that for some reason, and it's sad because it was a great organization, and I loved working there, and the purpose was awesome, and what they were trying to do to help people, and they had somebody running it that was just not good, not a good fit,
That's
and
exactly how I felt with working with Dunkin' because I was there for over 5 years. I did really good. I only got moved to the store I was at because I was doing so good. I ran the store I was at on salary as manager for a couple months while the manager was out. I was hiring, firing. I was doing everything, making the schedules. My daughter had COVID and I was getting paid coming and bringing my daughter with me so I could make the schedule. But once I got moved to this store with a manager and then the district manager who was coming into her spot as my old one was coming out, didn't want to work with me, that's when it all went downhill.
yeah,
Because I was great at my job.
I believe it.
If I would have stayed where I was, I would have had my own store
I bel
because I was a very structural type of person.
I
So
can
I was good with sales and all that too because I kept everything how it was supposed to be.
I can believe that, Amber, because I've had a lot of conversations with you on TikTok, and especially the last few days, getting ready to record here, and I can just tell that you have the mentality like me. You're just a fighter. You figure shit out all the time. You got a kid at home that's fighting her fight, and you're there supporting her. And now, you said screw you to Dunkin' Donut and walked away from that, and you're still figuring it out. You're out there Ubering just to make rent checks and all that. And that's what
Yeah.
people don't understand. I mean, there's people that think that you're lazy or whatever, or you can't stay employed. You don't have the skills.
Yeah, why can't you get a job? Well, I have no one to take my daughter ABA, pick her up. So trying to find a job right now too with the hours is not
Exactly.
helping. And then the only if I don't go to like another Dunkin' or something, not all after COVID, a lot of them close early now. There's only like a couple
Yeah, everything.
24-hour ones.
Yeah,
So
everything.
anywhere else I go, it's gonna be overnight and I can do like one, maybe two overnights a week.
Hmm.
But other than that, I can't do it. It
Right.
affects my body bad because the first thing to shut down on me when my body's tired is my legs. My legs will turn to noodles,
Yeah. Man, all day,
and I
Amber.
can't.
And this is the part that I just wish that people understood. All we want to do is survive. I mean, we're not asking for pity. We're not asking for handouts. I know I've never asked for anything in my life with this disease until I lost that job. Then I had to turn to the University of Michigan, my family and my football team. And that's when I reached out to Andy Borowski, and he's the president of the FAM organization. And when I reached out to him, he got me through it. But I know a lot of people that have MS and have a chronic disease. They don't have that. They played for the University of Michigan. They don't have that backdrop of making a phone call and having my brothers there for me and supporting me. A lot of us don't have that, and I'm blessed that I had that. But you got people like you that are just getting treated like this, and you're sitting here just trying to figure it out. And I'm trying to change that, man. We got to make people aware that there's a lot of people going through this shit, and it needs to stop. People need to get
I
educated.
feel like it's that, and nowadays, and this day and time right now, everyone's too caught up in their self.
That's
Where
it.
some people need to just take a step out of their body and maybe put in someone else's shoes or actually look around. I feel like that's the problem. No one wants to take a second to look around and actually see that there is other people around them and not just their self.
Yeah. Man, all day, Amber. I think I could sit here and continue talking with you for like another 2 hours because I know we were planning on talking about the TikTok community and everything else and how awesome that is. But I just everything that you have to say, you're just such an badass fighter, and I just hope that everything works out for you and your daughter. And if you can tell anybody anything that is going through a similar situation as you, They might have a daughter or a son on the spectrum and they're fighting that fight, or they might be just recently diagnosed in 2022 and they're fighting that fight, or they might be struggling with employment now. What would your message be to them to just keep on going and just keep, you're going to figure it out?
Yeah, you're gonna cry a lot by yourself, but you're gonna figure it out. What honestly I feel like has helped me since this whole thing is me falling into my faith more. I started going to church and just putting myself in God's hands. All the stuff that gets thrown at me, it wouldn't get thrown at me if I couldn't be able to deal with it. And I just try to take whatever is thrown at me and learn from it. And that's all we can do.
Yeah.
And I know there's more people out there, and that's what brought me to TikTok and how I met you and all that. Because I want people to be able to see or listen to one of your podcasts. How I deal with something may help the next person.
Right.
I may not be the most positive towards myself all the time. And I feel like because I am such a fighter all the time and I'm constantly having to fight, I do have a lot of big crash out moments. But that's what I mean by you're going to cry a lot by yourself, but you're going to get through it because everyone's different. But that's what made me strong,
Yeah.
me constantly picking myself back up
No,
and having her look at me and I'm her voice. So I can't ever lose my voice for myself because I'm her voice.
yeah, absolutely, man. And that's your motivation. And I tell everybody that I meet that's new in this journey, you got to find your motivation. If you got a kid, you got to fight the fight for your kid. If you got a parent, you got to fight the fight for your parent, or your spouse. You got to fight the fight for your spouse, and you got to fight it for yourself. But you got to figure out a way to motivate yourself to get up every day. And if you can still get out of bed, get out of bed,
I agree.
and do everything that you can, because you got to. You can't quit on this disease. You can't quit on yourself, and you just got to keep on fighting. I mean, I've been doing this 28 years. I'm tired as fuck. I
You've
mean,
been doing it as long as as long as I've been alive.
yeah,
So I'm 28.
I, yeah, and I'm tired. I'm tired, and I can lay down. I can just say, you know what, I'm done. You know what, let me let the government take care of me. I don't want to, I just, or I can just, end it all and just end my life. But I don't want to do that. There's so much to live for still. I just started this podcast with Hale Media. I'm excited about it. I think we're going to do awesome things. I think we're going to educate a lot of people. I think we're going to spread a lot of awareness. We're going to talk a lot about what this disease can do to you, and just make people understand it a little bit better so that we're not treated like we're just outcasts. And that's what I feel
And
like.
I feel like it really helps too with people like me who have fears when it comes to this disease because I was very scared about being in a wheelchair until I met this TikTok community
Yeah.
and meeting Deb and Tanya and vocals, all these people in chairs, like they made me not scared. So this podcast, it can help someone not be afraid of what this disease can do.
Yeah. Amen, man. Amen. I love everything that you're about, Amber. You always got a spot on another episode. You know how to get a hold of me. I made another friend. I got friends all over the world. Since I started doing this, I got over 100 episodes over on my private platform, um, my solo platform, and I plan on having thousands with Hale. And I think we're going to do a lot of good things together. And I just made a great friend. If anybody wants to follow you on TikTok, go ahead and give out your name on TikTok, and I'll put that in the description. I'll have Melly write it up in the description. We're all coming together. We're all coming together, Amber.
Yes, we are. And that's one thing about this community because I honestly feel like people with MS are some of the most talented people you'll find and meet.
Oh, they are,
And
and I mean, my whole team here that I'm building with this podcast, man, we are all MSers. The artist is an MSer, the writer's an MSer, the music in the beginning is an MSer. I mean, we are,
then I definitely commend you for that, Brian. You wanted to keep it within the MS community and you keep us all very involved with your podcast and what you're doing and having all of us on.
yeah,
I love the platform that you give people and how you try to help people
I appreciate you.
and including the other MS warriors and making sure it really is all about MS and that doesn't get lost.
That'll never get lost with me. I know that we might need some help from people that don't have a chronic disease, but I'm going to do everything I possibly can that's affiliated with this show to have MS or chronic disease. I know my brothers at Hale Media, Doug and Chris, they don't have MS, but they get it. They understand it. They've listened to me talk. And I really appreciate them. And, I just love the Michigan family. They've done so much for me. Even if you're not a Michigan football fan, I mean, it's just an awesome, awesome organization that I was luckily enough to be connected with because of me playing at Michigan, the FAM organization. And please, if anybody wants to check that out, it's just an awesome, awesome organization. But if you want to, if anybody wants to follow you, Amber, what is your handle on TikTok again? Because I know it's not spelled your name; you spell it out different, right?
No, it's Honey and Shug. So Honey, HoneyNSUG. I put that as everything because that's for me, my daughter, because I call her Shug or Shuggy.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, I'll have Mel put that in the description, and I just love talking to you, Amber. And like I said,
Oh,
anytime.
can I give you my
Yep.
stone cleaning one?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because I clean
absolutely.
headstones.
Yeah, absolutely. Drop it. Go ahead and name drop anything
It's
you want.
it's Lexani, Lexani period stone care.
Awesome, awesome. Yep, I will have Mel put that in the description, Amber. And like I said, anytime you want to come on, you always have an open invitation. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok. I am MS Michigan Man 64. You can also find me on Instagram, MS Michigan Man 64. And I'm also on Facebook, Brian Wallace out of Brunswick, Ohio. Also, do not forget to hit the subscribe button on Hale Media. And this is the MS Michigan Man 64. I am out.